Back in September, I was in Shenzhen for the Shenzhen International Audio Show and Tanchjim was exhibiting there. I managed to listen to the then named Oxygen Gen 2 and was very pleasantly surprised as they took a very different direction from the Kara, which was released earlier in 2023. But Tanchjim decided that it needs a hippier name than Oxygen version 2. Now it's called the Origin. Guess what's in our studio today? That's right, you got it, it's the Origin. So starting off with an unboxing, if you have been following Tanchjim, they are one of those few chi-fi brands that always have a very cool, cohesive theme, always with that white, grey, silver colorway. The box of the Origin is no different with the earphones plastered right in the center. This time around, it clearly states that it has a modular sound tuning through the form of different nozzles. Behind the box is the curve that is what it is based on. Removing the sleeve, you then see the grey box with their angel logo in the center. Below that is a white cardboard thingy with literature. You then see the earphones themselves as well as the previously mentioned nozzles. Below them are two sets of ear tips, one with a larger ball while the other features a smaller ball for folks who are a little bit more treble sensitive. Just below that is a white earphone case made of fake Saffiano leather. Inside it is the cable. So Tanchjim really did use some heart to design the box and it is really quite impressive. I really like the presentation. Next, moving on to build quality, Tanchjim again knocked it out of the park with the build quality of the Origin. These are premium feeling. The chassis I believe is made from stainless steel. I can't seem to find any information of what material it is used, but judging from the heft, it should be steel. Also, the chassis is a very beautiful mirror finish on the Origin, polished to a beautiful luster. The faceplate has depth to the design. The name and the angel logo are embossed on the chassis and the workmanship is very clean. When it comes to comfort, the chassis is impressive. They continue a trend that Simgot piloted earlier with the raised section of the nozzle. This allows for IMs to be more comfortable and the Origin to me is, as you would have expected, very comfortable. Nozzles are interchangeable on the Origin, but the effect of the different nozzles are really quite minimal. The vent of the Origin is actually quite large compared to the competition and this affects the overall tone somewhat. I would say that these are more likened to a semi-open IM rather than the traditional closed design. As such, isolation is quite average. However, this also allows for pressure equalization in your ear canals and allow for a more comfortable listen. Origin has a 2-pin cable. Cable is of good quality and a rather light, simple and clean design. It has a 3.5 to 2-pin termination. Also, a chin stop is included for times where you want your earphones to sit a bit more snug. So the dynamic driver used in the Origin is what Tanchjim calls the DMT5. It uses a dual magnetic dual cavity driver which results in lower distortion levels. The case provider is actually very usable, which is nice. Sound. The Origin has the very in-meta tuning of 2023-2024. It is another natural warm IM that is all the rage these days, but they did not blindly do this. Firstly, the Origin has a huge vent, making it semi-open sounding. This adds a very different character, of which cannot be shown through a mere graph. Anyways, please pause the video here if you want a large picture of the graph. It has this wide airiness when it comes to sound that makes them so addictive and not so common. Secondly, the Origin is a very forward sounding IEM. I do rather like this as the singer sounds like, it's just in front of your face while singing. So there are different nozzles here, but they don't really make too much of a difference. Anyways, let's dive into the nitty-gritty. Bass. As mentioned, the Origin has a really huge vent, effectively making them semi-open. But I'm happy to say that it still maintains a rather traditional rendering of bass, but with more airiness. I remember in my review of the Simgot EA1000 saying that there is added resonance and realistic decay. I must say that Origin is quite similar to that, with the exception that the decay is actually a little bit faster. Sub-bass extends really low and is actually surprisingly clean. Bass texture is true to life. It also has a very fast realistic decay. I do find that the resonance fades off quite quickly but does not sound like there is a dearth of resonance. Mid-bass is very well controlled as well. I like the texture that is rendered by the Origin. It is very believable. Also to add, bass on the Origin is also pretty dynamic sounding. Next, moving on to mid-range. Vocals on the Origin is rather forward. I got the perception of the singer being rather close to me, and really this is quite nice as it allows you to listen to the tone color of the voice in close proximity. Origin has an upper mid-range focus, which allows for vocals to sound very focused and sweet. Resolution here is again great. Vocals sound very nimble and fast. Instruments here is also very crisp and articulate. If the track is recorded well, instruments should sound very clear without haze, resulting in excellent positioning. Treble. Treble is smooth and airy on the Origin. It is effortless and very well controlled. Shimmer on the cymbals is present but fades away quite quickly, never overstaying its welcome. It again has a rather fast nature. Soundstage, when it comes to width and height, the Origin does a fantastic job, especially when it comes to the width of the music. It is just very wide sounding. When it comes to height, it is fast but not to the same degree as width, but still excellent. Depth and positioning. Depth is amazing how deep the instruments are in a track, and it's actually very obvious. When it comes to positioning, because of the semi-open nature, it's even more obvious from the added air in the sound. Overall, very good. And next, moving on to comparisons. I think the most obvious comparison against the Origin would be the Simgot EA1000. Now, both these IEMs are quite similar. The Simgot has a passive radiator, while the Origin has a larger than normal vent. I found that there is more bounce or radiance when it comes to the bass of the EA1000 compared to the Origin, which is airy but also diffuse a bit faster. When it comes to vocals, the Origin is slightly sweeter than the EA1000. Both are again really airy, but I found that the EA1000 to be a smidgen more so by comparison. Technically, both these IEMs are excellent and you will honestly not go wrong with either of them. Both of them are built to amazing specifications. So if you already have the EA1000, do you still need the Origin? I can say honestly no, they are very similar. Next up, versus the Kiwiears Quintet. The Quintet is again similar sounding, but they achieve this through rather different means. It firstly uses 4 different types of drivers that will reward you with excellent resolution, but the Origin is just more cohesive. So next, moving on to what do I think about the Origin? What I do like about it is that I think that the tone on the Origin is glorious, especially if you are a forward vocal lover. Also, these are a no-brainer for folks who want a more open and airy sounding IEM. In terms of build quality, it is also just sublime. And next, a little bit of what I do not like about the Origin. I can see that for some folks who prefer a warmer sounding IEM, the Origin might not suit you. So the question here is this a blind buy, good buy, safe buy, or avoid IEM? I would say that the Origin is honestly blind buy worthy. It has the makings of a great IEM with very good design, clearly thought through from the unboxing experience all the way to the tuning of the IEM. For what it is, I would say it's just really simply amazing. And with that said, I hope you guys enjoyed this week's episode of the SuperChonk Super Audio Show. Thank you guys so much for watching. By the time you guys are seeing this video, I will be packing my bags and I'll be away for 3 weeks. Don't worry, I have some videos installed in the meantime. It's just that I might not be able to comment on them because the place that I'm going, the internet can be rather spotty at times. But yeah, if you need anything, you can just contact me on my socials and I will usually respond to them quite quickly. With that said, I hope to see you guys soon.